Welcome to the Fertility Coaching Mastery Podcast. I'm Dr. Kela Smith, fertility and hormone expert and founder of the Hormone Puzzle Society. I help wellness professionals like chiropractors, acupuncturists, doulas, nutritionists, personal trainers, and health coaches integrate fertility coaching into their work and build thriving, purpose-driven practices. I also work with beginners who are ready to step into this work and use their own painful story for their purpose. If you're ready to confidently support fertility clients, attract aligned clients, and grow a business that truly makes an impact, you're in the right place. Now let's dive in. Hi, and welcome to the Fertility Coaching Mastery Podcast. This is a space where I talk about what it really takes to start, build, grow, or scale a fertility coaching practice, from the clinical side to the business side to the mindset required to step into this work. Hi, I'm Dr. Kela Smith, and today's episode is a really personal one because I want to take you behind the scenes. I want to talk about my fertility journey and how I built a successful fertility coaching practice from scratch from that experience and how we continue to grow year over year. And the reason I want to share this with you is because many of you are thinking, this is exactly where your journey is starting. You may not fully see it yet, but your story, your experience, what you've gone through, all of this is not random and it's not in vain. They're all part of pieces of your story that's preparing you for this work. And there was a time when I was struggling myself. I was trying to understand my body. I was trying to get answers. I was trying to figure out what was actually going on. And like so many women, I was told things were normal. And that was such an important and pivotal moment in my life because I think a lot of women and a lot of practitioners, they've experienced that disconnect. On paper, everything looks normal. Everything looks fine. But your body is telling you that something is off. But instead of getting answers, you get resistance and you don't get resolutions. And for me, that just didn't sit right. So I started asking deeper questions. I dove into research. I knew something was missing and I didn't want to look at what is happening. It's not just what is happening, but why is this happening? What is the root cause of all of these symptoms? And that was the question that I asked myself, and it was the question that changed everything because it led me to the work that I'm doing, and first on myself and now in my practice with my patients and my clients, but it led me into hormone health, into nutrition, into functional and root cause medicine and approaches, and looking at the body as a whole system instead of pieces and different parts that aren't working together. And I became deeply invested in my healing and how my body actually works. It's not just a textbook perspective, but a real lived, applied journey and perspective. And as I dove into research, this is what I realized. There's missing pieces. And it's not because people weren't trying to help me, but it was because our system is designed to look at you and look at different parts of you and not look at you together. It's designed to diagnose disease or illness or the lack thereof, and then to treat with things like prescription meds, treat symptoms, or recommend fertility procedures like IUI and IVF, and then to move on. It's almost like I felt like I was a cattle being led through this conveyor belt of things without anybody ever asking me, tell me about your cycle. Tell me about your nutrition and lifestyle. Tell me about your timing of when you're having your intercourse. Tell me about the symptoms you have with your cycle. Like none of that was asked of me. And fertility and hormones don't work this way. They're influenced by so many different things. And all of these pieces are pieces of this big puzzle. They're influenced by things like stress, nutrition, gut health, blood sugar imbalances, environmental toxins, lifestyle pieces. And when you start looking at all of those pieces together, you start to see patterns and you start to understand the bigger picture. You start to understand and learn why the symptoms are happening in the first place, why things are not improving with the protocols that you're given, and what it actually needs to change. Like what actually needs to change for you to really heal. And once I started putting these pieces together, things started to shift for me. Now, it didn't happen overnight, but it did happen in a way that made sense to me. And this is the part that's really important that I want you to get. I didn't start out thinking, I'm going to build a fertility coaching business out of this. Like, that was never the plan. I just wanted to heal myself, and I wanted to avoid IVF, and I wanted to get pregnant and be a mom. I had wanted this since I was a child, and now I'm finally ready to do it, and I can't? Like, what? And so as I was going down this journey of research and learning, I was learning things, I was applying things, I was my own lab rat, and I started sharing this on social media, and this was in 2011. So I was just sharing on social media. This was before social media was even a thing. And people started asking me. They were like, what is it that you're doing? Like, I'm also struggling. Can you help me? Can you guide me? Like, now I see you're building a business. Like, how are you doing that? How do you even know how to do that? Like, please help me. And that's how it all begins for some people. Not with this perfectly structured business, like you've got a business plan and you've got a loan from the bank and you're like all set and you launch and you have all these clients coming in and you make all this money. And no, that is not how it starts. It starts with curiosity. It starts with your lived experiences, no matter how big or small those are. And it starts with a genuine desire and passion to help people struggling. That was one of my goals. I was like, I don't want another woman to struggle with infertility the way that I did. And so I'm going to do something about it. And so as I began sharing and talking on social media about this and diving into, okay, well, how can I get some credentials? Like, I didn't know anything about building a business or really about fertility other than what I was doing on myself. And over time, it just started to build and it started to snowball. And so then as I was sharing and people were asking me to help them, it turned into working with clients and then building programs and refining my approach and eventually creating a full fertility and hormone coach certification program and coaching practice, which is what I have today. And what is thriving, which is still mind-blowing to me that I started this all from scratch and looking at what it is today. And so if you look back at what actually made this all work, it wasn't doing more. It was doing the right things. I focused on root cause healing, simplicity, education, not being afraid to put myself out there, even though on the inside I was terrified. I had never done a live video, y'all, before when I started my practice. Like, live videos weren't a thing back then. But you know what? I heard a mentor say this to me one time and I'll never forget it. And I always think of it. It's not about me. It's not about you. It's about the people that you're trying to help and the population you're trying to serve and the message that you're trying to relay. So as you're thinking about stepping into this work, it's not about overwhelming clients. It's about helping them to understand their body. Because when somebody understands what's happening and why, they're more likely to take action, to stay consistent, and to really get lasting results. And that's what's often missed when people are just given a protocol, but they don't really understand it and they're not explained it. There's no ownership in that. And without ownership, there's no consistency. It's just another thing that gets tossed aside and never implemented. And I always say that education without implementation is not going to move you forward. And that is so true in the fertility journey and as you're thinking about becoming a fertility coach and working with this population. And this is where I want to really speak to you directly. So come in close. Are you listening? Because if you're listening to this, there's a good chance that this is very personal for you. Maybe you've experienced your own fertility struggles and challenges, hormone imbalance and challenges, or not getting the answers that you need from conventional medicine. And I want you to know that that experience matters. I see you. I was you. And that experience matters, not in a way that you have to lead with your story, but a way that your story is going to inform this work and how you show up. You show up from somebody who's lived this and you're wanting to help somebody else who's living it. Because women today, they're not just looking for information. They're looking for understanding, compassion, somebody who gets it, somebody who's lived it or who has helped others live it. Maybe you don't have a personal story with infertility, but you're passionate about infertility and you've seen your sister, your cousin, your neighbor, your coworker, whoever struggle. With 1 in 6 women and couples struggling globally, I guarantee you know people that struggle with infertility, and probably multiple people. Every time I turn around, somebody is telling me that they're struggling. And when you understand that, everything shifts. You go from being the one searching for answers to the one that's guiding others. And that's a completely different role to step into. And that role requires confidence and structure and the right framework. You do not have to have it figured all out at once. That is where I come in and where I want to help you through my free classes and books and my paid programs and my certifications. And this is exactly the things that I teach inside my fertility and hormone coach certification program. I've taken everything I've learned in almost 10 years of practice, everything I've tried, everything I've applied, and everything that actually works. And I teach you how to understand fertility at a deeper level. I teach you how to get real results for your clients and patients and how to build a successful business around this work. One where you're working in your passion every day, but you're making a great, profitable income. You maybe are traveling the world, or you're just home with your kids all day. That was one of my goals when I started my practice. I was like, I tried so hard to make these babies. I don't want to leave them. I want to be home with them. How can I structure a career where I'm home with them? Because that's the thing. When I was going through my fertility struggles, I was traveling. I was in sales for nutrition companies. And before that, I was a personal trainer, but I was traveling 5 states. And so I was thinking, now I've gone through this fertility journey. I have a newborn. Then 2 years later, I have a 2-year-old and a newborn. And I'm trying to travel 5 states. And I'm leaving them with babysitters and daycares. And I don't want to do this. So if you're feeling called to this work, even if it's just curiosity, that sense that this might be your next step in your career, I want to explore that with you. So if you're ready to step into that, I encourage you to subscribe to this podcast. That's your first step. If you love it, leave us a review so more people can find this show. And then grab a copy of our fertility coaching roadmap, which is your first step. And if you're interested in learning more about our certification course, there's a link also there for that. It's fertilitycoachingmastery.com/certification-course. So as we close for today and for our first inaugural episode of the Fertility Coaching Mastery Podcast, I just want to tell you that your story matters more than you think. And for many of you, this is just the beginning. I'm so excited to watch you step into this work. So if you're following the podcast, I will see you in the next episode. If you're watching this on YouTube, thank you. Please hit that subscribe button and leave us a comment. Tell us what you loved about the show. And I can't wait to guide you into this work and for you to begin to step into your passion, into your purpose, and work with the 1 in 6 women and couples around the world struggling with infertility. I've got you. I was you, and I can't wait to help guide you. So thank you for listening, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now. If this episode resonated with you, make sure you've subscribed so you never miss a new one. And if you found this helpful, I would love for you to leave a review or share it with another practitioner who's ready to step into fertility coaching. You can also download the Fertility Coaching Roadmap in the show notes to start to build your next level of impact. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you in the next episode. Because the world needs more supported fertility journeys and more practitioners like you leading the way.